Dear customer, Wangsheng Funeral Parlor does appreciate your patronage, but you needn't hasten the inevitable. Are you all right? Huh? My, who do we have here? It's the Traveler in Paimon, and my worst nightmare. Hold on a second. You're not seriously thinking of taking him to Boo Boo Pharmacy in this state, are you? Come on, Baizhu. Don't tell me you haven't noticed it. Didn't your master teach you how to spot the signs? Why do I get the sense that you spotted them right away, but you're planning to use it for your own ends? Yes, but more importantly, they're on the verge of an outburst. If that happens, the consequences will be unthinkable. Now you're bringing my great-uncle into this? Baizhu, just what are you planning this time? Oh, really? I thought I was persona non grata at Boo Boo Pharmacy. You're being unusually generous today. Okay, deal. We're not gonna solve anything by keeping Jialiang here. I'm happy to do it your way, but only for my great-uncle's sake and the travelers, of course. Yes, of course, absolutely. I'll just go and look at the flowers or something. But I will be back in an instant at the first sign that something's amiss. While I'm idling time on admiring the scenery, the spectacled snake-bedecked docs doing surgery. Hello, you busy bees, and what do you have to discuss with the funeral director today? Actually, don't tell me. Let me guess. From the looks on your faces, you've got some questions for me. Huh? I thought I told you once before. Wangsheng Funeral Parlor was first founded to fight back against the vengeful wrath of gods defeated in war. Well, it is a dusty old tale by this point. Long story short, in the ancient world, dead gods were acting up, so our ancestors started purifying the air and burning the bodies of the deceased to guard the border between life and death. These days, we don't deal with the wrath of the gods anymore, but all the relevant know-how is still passed down to each generation, so we can identify God's remains when we see them. Almost certainly from his master, who was also my great-uncle. Baizhu's master was my grandpa's younger brother, a former deputy director of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. According to my grandpa, he and my great-uncle once went traveling together when they were young. They ended up at Chenyu Vale, where they met a pharmacist. That pharmacist must have cast some sort of spell on my great-uncle, because after that encounter, he suddenly announced he wanted to leave the family business and go practice medicine instead. My grandpa had a huge argument with him, but he couldn't convince him to stay. So my grandpa inherited the funeral parlor, while my great-uncle stayed in Chenyu Vale to practice medicine. They never spoke to each other again. If he had just become a regular doctor, there would have been no issue. After all, the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor wasn't unlike a regular doctor's clinic in the early days. But according to my grandpa, the pharmacist they met had a very ominous aura about him. And on top of that, the kind of medicine practiced in the Chenyu Vale tradition goes against the natural order of things. Don't know. My grandpa didn't know the specifics. And you've seen how wary Baizhu is around me. He'd never tell me anything. But even that says to me that he definitely has something to hide. One thing I do know about Baizhu is that he's obsessed with the idea of immortality. But whether that has anything to do with what he's hiding is hard to say. Anyway, so I will be sticking around here for now to keep a close eye on the situation. Maybe tomorrow I'll finally figure out what he's up to. Oh, while you're here, have either of you seen Chi-Chi around? It's not every day I get to infiltrate Baizhu's lair, but alas, I didn't catch a single glimpse of her anywhere. Aha! What if Baizhu knew I'd be on the lookout for her and hid her away in advance? It seems like the evil presence essence is gone after all. You really did manage to suppress it, huh? But how did you accomplish this in a single night? Oh, come on, Baizhu. I'm not that unreasonable. An elixir of immortality? How'd you cook that up? Ugh. Leave it to you to work on something like that behind my back. Oops. And I'm busted. No wonder he didn't mention the elixir back then. I thought he was being frank and transparent with me for once, but apparently not. All I wanted was to help Jialiang find his missing wife as soon as possible, so that he could be on his way to the afterlife without any unfulfilled wishes making the journey more difficult than it needs to be. Leave it to Boo Boo Pharmacy to snatch the perfect opportunity right out of my hands at the last hurdle. Never mind. I'll just have to put it down in the books as a deferred consideration. One Chi-Chi was enough of a conundrum. The last thing I need's another one. If I'd known this was coming, I'd have whisked him off to the Wangsheng funeral parlor the moment I found him. Oh, is that right? Well, you wouldn't be the first person who's tried to put Wangsheng funeral parlor out of business. If you're serious about it, you'll have your work cut out for you. Traveler, Paimon, I'll catch you all another time.